Thank you. Good morning and welcome. I'm Rev Gy, and I am just so delighted to be spending this time with you. Thank you for joining us here, there, on the holy interwebs, on YouTube, Zoomlandia, wherever you may be joining us from, or from the future when you'll be joining us later. So thank you for being here. I also thank you for helping us create this service. You guys there on AV, the ones who welcomed us, the ones who put together the PowerPoint. Look, thank you. All of you. Grateful for every single one of you. Today, we're going to talk about a puzzle. And it's a pretty existential puzzle. And I called it the caterpillar's dilemma. We're going to learn about caterpillars. And I'm sure you know a lot about it. But maybe I can share some new information. How many of you know about imaginal cells? All right, the rest of you are in for a surprise. Okay, so caterpillar. The caterpillar is an eating machine. It eats, I understand, in a day, 300 times its weight. Just eats and eats, and that's all it does. And it just keeps expanding and expanding and expanding. And then it sheds its skin. And with every shed, there is a little transformation in the caterpillar's body. But its main purpose in life is just to eat, 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 eat. And then there comes a moment in its life when it attaches itself to a leaf and then creates this chrysalis, which is also its skin. And it cocoons itself into this chrysalis. And then it releases an enzyme, a digestive enzyme. And you would think that that digestive enzyme is to break down the leaf that it attaches itself to. But that's not true. The digestive enzyme breaks down the body of the caterpillar. So inside that chrysalis, you see, like we have such a linear mind. We think that growth is linear. Baby born, tiny, little hands, little feet, little everything. Add food, they grow into big people. But they look pretty much the same. Little puppy, add food, big dog. So we have a linear understanding of growth and of development. But the caterpillar story is very, very different. So this digestive enzyme starts breaking down the caterpillar's body. Now, we know, because we know, that it's transforming. Inside, what's happening is metamorphosis. But from the point of view of the caterpillar, this is it. This is absolute death. It's the annihilation of its entire existence. And there is an interesting thing that is dormant in the caterpillar's body. And these are these little discs, imaginal discs, which we also call imaginal cells. And these are dormant. They're in there in the caterpillar's body, but they're dormant. But when in the chrysalis, the body is broken down into this primordial goo. It's a very nutrient-rich ooze that is happening in there. So if you were to break open a chrysalis, you wouldn't see a tiny little butterfly with tiny little wings. You would just see this ooze, this goo in there. And in this goo, so the caterpillar's body is disintegrating. These little imaginal cells are awakened, one at a time. And they are imprinted. They carry the blueprint of the butterfly. And so they awaken and they show up. But there's another interesting thing. So this integrating body of the caterpillar still has a little bit of immune system left. And this immune system recognizes these imaginal cells as a foreign object. And this immune system attacks the imaginal cells. The old fights the new. The old doesn't understand that the new is emerging, that it is necessary, that it is the future, that there's no going back. So it fights these imaginal cells. But these imaginal cells don't give up. They don't give up because that's not in their blueprint. So they start communicating. I'm here. I'm here. Then another imaginal cells, I'm here too. Where are you? And as they communicate, they find their way to each other. And first, they create small clusters. And of course, there's safety in numbers. They create small clusters. Then they develop into networks. And the more they cluster together, the more they come together, the stronger they are. And now they are able to use the caterpillar's ooze, the disintegrated body, as fuel to develop into their new next experience, life form. Metamorphosis happens, so now the butterfly develops. So what's interesting to me is that the butterfly does not use the past as foundation. It uses it as fuel. Butterfly does not use the past as foundation. It uses it as fuel. And then eventually, the butterfly breaks free of the chrysalis and starts its new transformed life. Well, even if I stopped right here, right now, I think you would go home thinking, wow, does this somehow apply and transfer to our lives today? In this moment in history, and this is a pregnant moment, this is a consequential moment, when life as we've known it is breaking down around us. Truth is a battleground. Norms are of yesterday. The fight to save our climate looks more like a surrender. We don't even understand so much of what is going on around us. And then things we don't want to happen seem to be happening. Things that we long to see happening, we don't see them yet. We are, it seems, in that primordial ooze where everything is breaking down around us. And it feels like death. It feels like a huge ending. But what if it isn't? What if it isn't? What if this is just a new beginning? And you and I are imaginal cells. And it is just so natural to want to seek a savior. Like, I imagine that if that caterpillar, if there was a butterfly who came from the outside and said, hold on, you don't need to attack the imaginal cells. This is good. Let it happen. Don't fight it. It's fine. You will see that your new transformed life will be so much more interesting and wonderful, and the quality, you'll be flying. You used to crawl, and now you will be flying. And we long also for a leader to emerge to tell us it's going to be okay. That all this is going to turn into something even better. Wouldn't it be nice to have somebody? But if you've been paying attention, you see that there's no such leader emerging. But you know that happening with Jimmy Kimmel when he got canceled? What happened? Yeah, imaginal cells here, there, started canceling their subscriptions. If one imaginal cell cancels a subscription, it's nothing. If millions of them, unorganized, there's no central command there, but if millions of them cancel, that's a signal you got to pay attention to. One person composting is a gesture. A community that is centralized around a communal garden, now that's a system. Imaginal cells. Imaginal cells did what their blueprint told them to do. We believe in free speech, and we shall put our money where our beliefs are. If you threaten free speech, we pull away our support. Jimmy Kimmel was off the air for 3 nights. That's it. They reinstated him. And it wasn't because there came a savior who had the perfect response and said, no, you shall not do that. It wasn't a savior. It was imaginal cells throughout the country doing that which they are blueprinted to do. So in this moment, when truth is breaking down, when trust is so difficult to come by, what can you trust? Who can you trust anymore? Would you bring on the next? Thank you so much. We go back to our blueprint. And we begin to radically practice that which we believe in. If these are such good values, we should be the first ones to practice them. And love is at the middle. And this love fuels our love of equity, interdependence, justice, generosity, pluralism, and of course, transformation. So this is what we go back to. This is what we practice radically. Radical trust in our own communities. Truth-telling. It is teaching your children the difference between facts and lies. How to tell one from the other. Now it is more important than ever. We should be the first ones to practice it. And communities like ours are so important. Because we as a community are also imaginal cells. And then there's another one on 10th Street. And then there's another one over there, and over there, and over there. And then we cluster together. And there's safety in numbers. There's wisdom in numbers. There's power in numbers. And you know, it doesn't take everybody to transform. It just takes enough of us to transform. There is a tipping point. And once we reach that tipping point, there is no going back. It's the same way with the imaginal cells in that primordial ooze. Only so many of them have to cluster together before the immune system, whatever little of it is left in that caterpillar's oozing body, can no longer affect them. And then they can develop and grow into their new selves. What if this isn't death? What if this is us becoming a better version of who we've always needed to be? A better version of who we knew we could be. And now we can rid ourselves of the crawling caterpillar body and transform into something better that stands truer and stronger, fueled by love. I can buy that. I can commit my life to that. Imaginal cells. Everybody doesn't need to change. Only enough of us have to. And to understand that we don't need to use the past as foundation, but we can use it as fuel. To understand that it is natural for the past to fight the future, and it's all necessary, but that there is a future. That if many of us, enough of us, commit ourselves to these values, eventually we shall fly. And so it is.